following is a presentation of MSG Varsity, only on Optimum. Optimum, let's connect more.
It's all over. It comes to an end now here with the 2016 All-Metro Wrestling Team. The best of the best, the highs and lows of the wrestling season all culminate right here on this show. It's a tough team to pick. Of course, we brought in the heavy hitters here on the mat. Bob Batters representing the Garden State of New Jersey. And of course, if the Empire is going to strike back, Andy Slauson is going to be in the house. And he is. Andy, good to see you, my friend.
You too. Hey, guys.
All right, so it's one of these teams. We pick it by weight. First team, second team, very difficult process to do. You have 3 states. You have New York, you have New Jersey, you have Connecticut, you have multi-regions at stake here. Let's take a look at a little bit of the breakdown for how the guys were sorted out here in this 2016 All-Metro Wrestling Show. Connecticut is in the mix. Long Island, so we separate Long Island and New York. Long Island, outstanding representation. And then, of course, just the mere size of the state of New Jersey. They are going to command a lot of numbers on this team. And then New York checking in the Hudson Valley, New York City in the mix with 3 members on the All-Metro team. We will start this All-Metro show like we start all of our All-Metro shows with the second team. So here we go. You ready, Batters? All right. This is the category of 106 pounds to 120 pounds. One of the headliners here in this category, Andy Slauson, was Tommy Cox.
Jimmy, Tommy Cox, a senior from Deer Park High School, 44-1 this year, 163-24 in his career. State champ, outstanding kid. He's had a great career.
Deer Park's Tommy Cox on this All-Metro second team, joined by JoJo out of Pope John and Nicky Ramo out of Hanover Park. So here's a look at this 106 to 120, and Bob, Pope John, great run for the fearless freshman JoJo.
Absolutely. Aragona came in as the number 2 ranked wrestler in the country, highly touted, suffered a loss to the eventual state champion in the semifinals, but battled back for 3rd. And Nick Ramo, once again, came in with just 1 loss, which came at the Beast of the East. He made it all the way to the 120-pound state final, where he lost to a 2-time state champ. So both as freshmen, both with huge things coming up in their future. So a lot to look forward to if you're Aragona and Nick Ramo.
One thing that makes this show so difficult, this team so difficult, is depth at the weight classes. I mean, some of these weight classes are just chock full. And we're going to get to one of those weight classes now in the 126 to 138. I mean, listen, 126, we know. We have the immortal Nick Soriano. Okay, Andy, you have Ja'Cory Teemer. Okay, and then you have another guy like Ty Agassi, who's a nationally ranked wrestler. That's 3 wrestlers, but we only have room for 2.
Jimmy, 126 pounds was definitely the toughest weight class on Long Island. You had kids that won at least 3 or 4 different state championships in that. 3 of those kids won't even be on the All-Metro team. And in New York State finals, both Divisions 1 and 2, all represented by Long Island kids there. It was a great weight class.
Yeah, and it's a tough place to be in the state of New Jersey when you have Nick Soriano. I mean, we love Coach Stahl at Del Barton, but, you know, and Ty Gacy's had a wonderful career. He won a state championship in his career, but this is just a very tough place to be in 2016.
Absolutely. You know, with Soriano there, he's the guy, you know, at 126 pounds. And we mentioned what Ja'Cory Teemer has done in his career. Tough spot, but again, that illustrates the depth of the weight. You have a wrestler like Ty Gacy, who's a top 10 wrestler in the country, you know, having trouble cracking the All-Metro team. That's why there's a lot of good wrestlers in this area.
So we take a look at 126 pounds to 138, and Andy Ja'Cory Teemer, what a legacy he's building. He's already got 3 in the bank New York State titles.
Jimmy, he is the first Long Islander to ever win state championships 3 in a row in 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. Only a sophomore. He's 145-4 in his career. This year he was 49-0. It's going to be very difficult for a Long Island or New York State high school wrestler to defeat him in the next 2 years.
You saw Grippy, and now Teemer finishes it up. Nick Farrow was in the middle there. But what a board here. Farrow, a senior, outstanding year.
Really did have another great year, another state medal for Farrow. Was a 4-time state qualifier for the Green Wave, heading to Lehigh for his collegiate career. And he was a huge part of the success of that program, since he entered as a freshman.
And Grippy out of Fox Lane for the Foxes. What a ride in his 10th grade campaign. 46 wins at 138. Grippy will be back for 2 more years, and he is certainly in the mix for more sectional and state title consideration. Matty Grippy out of Fox Lane High School. So now we roll on to 145 pounds to 160 pounds. And we start this one out of the state of Connecticut. What a run for Charlie Kane out of Fairfield Ward. Charlie Kane is on the board here as a second teamer. Fairfield Ward, outstanding year for Charlie Kane. You see Kane here at 145. Also on this board is AJ Alberli out of Minnesink Valley, the juggernaut out of the Hudson Valley, Minnesink Valley. Good representation for the Hudson Valley on this one, because you also have Ryan Farrow out of Warwick Valley. So nice board right here. Kane, Farrow, Alberli, congratulations to those guys. Kane takes it, second team at 145, Farrow at 152, and AJ at 160 pounds. And now we press back on here to 170 to 195 pounds. Your second team All-Metro. We're going to the shore, Bobby. Brent Donner out of Wall Township. What a ride for Brent and Wall.
He did. Donner was expected to contend for a state championship. Got stunned early in the state tournament. But how did he respond? He won 6 straight bouts in the wrestlebacks to take third off to Rutgers next year.
And of course, we just saw it. Mr. Key, look at this. Who could forget this one in the state finals in Atlantic City? And finishing it up was Christian Aranio, Andy, at Ward Melville.
Hey, I'd like to see the guy that is on the first team, Jimmy. Christian Aranio did not lose a match this year. Was 173-29 in his career. 2-time New York State champ.
I love Slauson. I'd like to see the guy. Well, listen, and Key put on a show, Bob, for DePaul. To win this title as a junior. He'll be back next year. He bumped up 30 pounds in the offseason from 152 to 182, and he made it count.
He really did. Just one loss out on the season, as you see. And Key was just in control from start to finish, from day one of the season all the way until he won the state title. 3rd straight season in a row, DePaul has had a state champion. And as a junior, he's going to come back next year as a heavy title favorite at whatever weight he's at.
All right, we move on to the big cats, 220 to 285 pounds. And a year ago, Zach Chaconis won the New Jersey state title in the heavyweight division. And that title is staying on the Chaconis mantle because this is his little brother, Eric, and he did not disappoint in Atlantic City on Sunday, Bob.
Last season, Chaconis, Eric, was at 220, really not where he belonged. This year at heavyweight, taking over his older brother. He was one of the best heavies in the tri-state, and he proved it all the way to a state title in New Jersey. And he looked good doing it, and he'll be back again next year after he got the belt.
And then, of course, also on this squad for the state liners of Phillipsburg, Bobby Melise. And this junior, 40-3, just a junior, he'll be back.
Great kid, Melise. One of the most humble kids in defeat after losing the state finals. Since the time he came on as a freshman, he was just 5-6. You knew the kind of promise he had. He's fulfilled it. 2 state medals, and he'll be back as a title contender as a senior.
It's a tough one. And you see the second team there. And Andy, I think you put it best, your reaction. And that's sort of the overall reaction. I'd like to see the guy who's on the first team, because a lot of these guys on the second team are champions. They're decorated, and it's a numbers game at times.
Jimmy, I think I counted 9 state titles among all of those 14 guys on the second team, which is incredible. That just shows you that the metro area of New York is one of the greatest, if not the best area in America in high school wrestling.
And Bob, we choose not to look at the second team as a slight, but also an honor. And sometimes, it's just, it's about depth. It's about maneuverability. Sometimes you're just going to get kind of pushed from that first team to the second team. In fact, you have just an utmost decorated wrestler in that first slot.
100%. And as Andy said, the depth in this area is a big part of that. If you're a second team All-Metro wrestler, you're one of the best kids at your weight class. As Andy said, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, the city, that's big time.
So the second team is in the book, dead ahead on this 2016 All-Metro Wrestling Show. The first team, come on back, on the mat, All-Metro 2016 returns.
In high school sports, there are one-of-a-kind experiences, once-in-a-lifetime moments, and plays you just had to be there to see. Now, with MSG Varsity, you can see it all only on Optimum.
But hold on 1 second. Oh, goodness!
More full games, more coverage, more of why MSG Varsity is where high school champions live. On air, online, on the go. MSG Varsity, only on Optimum.
2016 All-Metro Wrestling rolls on. This is just a small sampling of the honorable mentions, and there are some wonderfully decorated, the aforementioned Taya Gacy on this board. And Andy, when you look at this board, there are some guys that received considerable consideration for first and second team.
Jimmy, the guy that jumps right off that board at me, Matteo DiVincenzo at 126 pounds, four-time state place winner, third, second, and 2 championships. Anthony Sparacio at 120 pounds, won the New York State Championship this year in Division I, 35-0, and he doesn't even get on first or second team. How good was that weight? Another one, John Orsari, was a state champ in 2015. This year, his only loss was to the 3-time state champ, Ja'Cory Teemer. That's an outstanding bunch of guys in my book.
Yeah, and that was just a little sampling of a couple weight classes. We will have honorable mention, Bob, for every weight class. And, you know, I think the word honor is important in honorable mention because you guys took honorable mention serious. It's not a slight. It's, again, it's a numbers game. We saw some great names up there. There'll be some great names for every weight class in New Jersey in honorable mention.
Certainly. Depth is a big thing in this region, and you're going to see that in those honorable mention groups that will come out with our All-Metro teams. For example, that 120-pound weight class, in the New Jersey State Tournament, the top 4 finishers were all nationally ranked 17 or higher. I mean, that just goes to show you what kind of depth you're working with. You had to beat 3 nationally ranked kids probably just to win a state title. So very impressive, very hard to do. So you're right. Honorable mention, certainly not a slight in that case.
Yeah, and before we get to the first team, Andy, if you're scrolling down on this All-Metro show and you get to 152 pounds, one name you are going to see is Hot Box Chris Moriello, the disastrous turn of events that took place upstate. I mean, I think it's been unanimous. Anybody we showed the video to, Bob, you, whoever from New York, one of the worst calls ever. But for Moriello, state champ as a sophomore, disappointed as a junior, the ridiculous set of circumstances, great memories of Moriello. He deserved to be mentioned on this show.
He absolutely did, Jimmy. And just to mention this real quick, I got 2 letters in the last 2 weeks, one from a referee in California, one from a referee in New Jersey. Don't know the guys, and they were shocked beyond belief at what happened in that match, how Moriello got totally ripped off in the state semifinals. But as I said, he's a classy kid with a lot of dignity and humility to him, and he came back after that to place 4th in the state tournament. So he's honorable mention.
Yeah, and what he will be a winner in life. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. Chris Moriello, we know we're built on this. He's going to have a wonderful college career. Okay, here we go. It is that time, Bob. You ready?
Let's do this.
I know Slausen's ready. He's got the red shirt on. He's like
I'm
Tiger
ready.
Woods. When he wears the red shirt, it's like Sunday on the back 9. The guy is ready to go. First team, Andy, we start with one of your guys out of Half Hollow Hills West in the 99-pound bracket. Dylan Ryder is first team All-Metro.
Jimmy, Dylan Ryder suffered a season-ending injury last year. He didn't step on the mat once in the high school season. This year, all he did was come back and go 43-2, made it to the state finals, where he lost, but he had an incredible season for Half Hollow Hills West. He's a sophomore. He will be heard from again in the next 2 years.
So a runner-up as a sophomore, Dylan Ryder now, still with 2 years left, and congratulations to Dylan Ryder as our All-Metro 99-pound recipient. You see the outstanding record of 43-2. He won the Suffolk County Championship. He won the Eastern States, runner-up in the New York States, but Dylan Ryder of Hills West, our 99-pounder. Okay, we move on now to 106 pounds. We're going to keep it on Long Island. It's a name, Andy Slauson, that is now synonymous with wrestling excellence. Busiello, Adam Busiello, out of Eastport, South Manor. He goes into that Ring of Honor as a two-time New York State champion. Busiello is first-team All-Metro.
48-0 for his season this year, 147-7 for his career. He's in 9th grade. Two-time state champ, three-time state finalist. His father was a state runner-up back in 1979. His older brother was placed 3rd in the state twice. So this is a wrestling family. Adam Busiello is going to be, in 3 years, one of the most decorated high school wrestlers to ever come out of Long Island. He's ranked #1 in America right now.
Busiello has just skyrocketed up the charts in his first 2 years. You see the activity, you see the aggression. He's an athlete, he is quick as a cat, and he is All-Metro first team, 106 pounds, just a 9th grader. How do you have 2 New York State titles in the bank as a 9th grader? That's what a Busiello is. #1 in the nation, as Andy just chronicled. 2-time Suffolk champ, 2-time New York State champ. The fearless freshman out of ESM. Congratulations to Adam Busiello. So we roll on now to the weight class otherwise known as 113 pounds. A lot of intensity, a lot of thought went into this, but here we go. Your first team All-Metro at 113 pounds.
5 seconds left. Rivera looking for it. He got it! Sebastian Rivera, spectacular, brings Boardwalk Hall to their feet.
There he is. Christian Brothers Academy. All hail the Colts Nation, Bob. Sebastian Rivera is first team All-Metro.
An incredible comeback to win the New Jersey 113-pound state title, down 4-0 in the 3rd period, finishes off with a fall with 1 second left. You know, one of the lasting images of Boardwalk Hall was right there. That smile to the crowd as he's pinning Pat Glory. The first state champion for CBA since 1969, and Rivera finished off a spectacular career with the biggest one of all, getting a state championship in New Jersey.
Well, it's just amazing. This Northwestern-bound senior, it didn't look good, Bob. He trailed early in the state final, and it just goes to show you what a great couple weeks it's been for Rivera, because with a minute left in the 3rd period, he's not first-team All-Metro, but he is now.
You're right. You know, down 4-0 earlier, things were looking dicey for him, but you know, he showed up when it mattered most, and the pressure didn't get to him. That says a lot. You know, that Center Mountain Boardwalk Hall state championship on the line, something you work your entire career for, and he was able to get the job done with an epic performance. So, you know, what a way to end your high school career, your final high school wrestling match, to win it like that. You know, that is about as special as it gets. So Sebastian Rivera, well earned, the #3 ranked kid in the country, and to win the state title, beat the #5 ranked kid, Pat Glory, and the #10 ranked kid, Jonathan Tropea.
So you gave Rivera another reason to smile, which he does very well. Congratulations to Sebastian. To 120 pounds, we're going to keep it in the Garden State of New Jersey. Wow, it's so tough to be a 2-time champion in New Jersey. That's just what Brandon Cray out of Steinert High School, otherwise known as Hamilton East. He won it a year ago at 113. Bob, this year, he took it home at 120.
And he did in a bracket where, oddly enough, as a top seed, a lot of other people were looking at, you know, Nick Ramo, who is a Hanover Park freshman, he faced in the final. But just look at that athleticism and the skill from Craig, getting out of that takedown attempt somehow, finishes it off in the 3rd period with another late takedown. A 2-time state champ, the only 2-time state champion in the history of Mercer County Wrestling. Brandon Cray, a phenomenal career for Coach Adam Jenkos.
And it just goes to show you what a long wrestling season it could be. You see the record of 20-0. He was hurt early in the year, stuck to it, got back on the mat, and just kind of took it to the finish line as another state championship.
And you saw all of his skill set in the finals there. You saw his defensive ability, which he's known for, and then you saw his his outright quickness and explosiveness. He only needed 2 takedowns, and that's what he did against Nick Ramos. So a huge way to end your career if you're Brandon Cray, off to wrestle in the Big Ten after a historic career in Mercer County.
Well, it's difficult to repeat as a state champion in New York. It's difficult to repeat as a state champion in New Jersey. It's also difficult to repeat as first team All-Metro.
Very hard. Very hard.
Okay. And listen, at 126 pounds, we mentioned the blockade of talent that was at 126. But Bob, it was a coronation season for Nick Soriano at 126. It would take us a while to list all the accomplishments. Bottom line was an undefeated high school career, 4-time state champ. Enough said.
Absolutely. You know, we're talking about an all-time great here, and not just in New Jersey, but in the tri-state and around the country as well. When you finish your career, you know, undefeated as a 4-time state champion, you know, you are one of the greats to ever come around.
And, you know, he was a little disappointed in his performance in the final, but how about the semifinal? Yeah, he wins the final 3-1.
Yes.
But he wins the semi. He puts up 19 points. But what a ride it has been for Soriano. Nunzio Campanelli, the football coach at Bergen Catholic, said he's the hardest working athlete he's ever seen. That's quite a compliment.
And I completely agree with that. He's the most driven individual athlete I have ever been around, and you can tell that drive comes from within. He has that special characteristic that goes beyond, you know, strength and speed and any kind of wrestling skill. You know, that it factor that people mention, he has it, and that's why he finished his career 159-0, a 4-time state champion, going off to Penn State. You know, the accolades. People came to Boardwalk Hall to watch the state finals. They came to see history made.
So there he is. Nick Soriano has done it again. Completes his high school career undefeated. He will now go wrestle for the Nittany Lions and Coach Sanderson at Penn State. And boy, Cale's getting a great one. 159-0, 38-0 this year. Took on all comers. I think someday he'll wrestle for America. More on Soriano as this show continues. But congratulations, first team All-Metro to the Paramus Python, Nick Soriano. I'm starting to go more and more with the Paramus Python as time has gone on. He's from Paramus, New Jersey. He went to Bergen Catholic. Okay, we surge forward, 132 pounds. And, you know, in many regards, you feel like Nick Soriano was born to wrestle, born to dominate. Andy, I think that's the case at 132 pounds because Vito Arujau, the junior out of Syosset, he is our first team All-Metro. Was he not born to dominate and compete in this sport?
Jimmy, as we've said about his father winning the Olympic bronze medal, his brother Nick winning a 3-time state championship, this kid is the most dominant high school wrestler I've ever seen from Nassau County. He was 47-0 this year, and in his career, he's 179 wins, 1 loss. 1 loss, and that was in the finals of the states in 8th grade in triple overtime to a kid who's already been a 4-time state champion. So, I mean, there is just not enough accolades for this kid. I think his closest match in the state tournament this year was by 8 points. So we are definitely watching the Superman of Nassau County Wrestling. No Nassau wrestler has ever won 4 state titles. Next year, this kid's going to do it.
Well, the numbers are staggering for Arujau, just a junior, 47-0, the 4-time Nassau County champ, and he's got another year left. His career record, Andy told you where the 1 loss came. He was a puppy in the 8th grade, and then the trifecta, a New York State champion, 2014, 2015, 2016. Case closed. That is a resume for first team All-Metro for Vito Arujau. Now to 138 pounds. Now the thing about Vito was he was so good, so young. Soriano, so good, so young. They started out freshman year, dynamic, dominant. A year ago, Shane Griffith, you would not have penciled him in as a freshman to be a New Jersey State champ, double-digit losses. He sealed the deal with his greatness as a freshman, winning that state championship. He backed it up this year. Shane Griffith is our recipient at 138.
And Griffith certainly did that. You know, coming in as a freshman, everyone knew he was a very talented wrestler, the capability of doing big things. But it was in that state tournament as a freshman that really opened everyone's eyes. winning the state championship, beating Craig De La Cruz late, and he did it again at Boardwalk Hall with a victory late. Shane Griffith, 2 years at Bergen Catholic, 2 state championships.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing run for Sugar Shane at 138. He is now just in the back end of his sophomore year. He's already got the 2 state titles. And, you know, listen, it wasn't easy last year as a freshman. It wasn't easy this year as a sophomore. He just methodically plotted his way through that state final at Boardwalk Hall a couple Sundays ago.
He did, and he had an injury to deal with throughout the season, too. I mean, he came in as a top 5 ranked wrestler in the country, had a knee injury in the Beast of the East finals, didn't come back until Bergen Catholic's last 2 matches on their run to the non-public A team state championship. But he looked like the Shane Griffith of old in the state tournament, and he got it done. Pinning right here, Kittatinny's Austin Scrivani, who had 1 loss. And in the final, you know, against Mike Van Brill of Clearview, undefeated coming in, going to Rutgers, also nationally ranked. And Griffith did what Griffith does, you know, in the state tournament. You know, he has been huge, and when it mattered, he got the takedown to give him his 2nd state championship. All the eyes on the other guys at Bergen Catholic, Suriano certainly, but, you know, you're looking at Shane Griffith, sophomore, 2-time state champion.
Tore his meniscus in December, missed 6 weeks, still takes home the ultimate prize as a New Jersey state champion. That's why his record is only 15-0. The guy tore a ligament in his knee and still came back and won the state title. He is a picture of poise and confidence on the mat. Congratulations to Sugar Shane! Shane Griffith of Bergen Catholic, our All-Metro 138-pounder. Now to 145 pounds. And this is sort of Bound Brook's Murderer's Row. We saw it in Atlantic City on Super Sunday. And at 145, you know, Mekhi Lewis, another one of these great wrestling stories that ends with the gold medal at Boardwalk Hall. But he is our 145-pound first team All-Metro, Mekhi Lewis.
And Mekhi Lewis, he climbed the ladder to be a state champion. As a freshman, he came in, again, highly touted. No one was surprised he had success. 7th in the state. What does he do as a sophomore? He gets up all the way to 3rd in the state, winning 6 matches in the consolations. But coming in as a junior, he was the favorite to take home a state title at 145 pounds, and he delivered on those expectations. Thrilling victory as well in overtime against Hasbrook Heights' Mikey O'Malley, who was undefeated, was O'Malley coming in. So Mekhi Lewis, just a junior, a world of talent, nationally ranked. So, you know, when you have that kind of performance in the state tournament to win it in overtime, you see how special of a wrestler he is on the mat, and already over 100 career wins as well.
And he'll have one of those very unique opportunities next year as he will wrestle his senior year as a defending state champ. He caps off 2 state medals with the ultimate medal. The 3rd one was the charm, a New York State champion.
Yeah, Mekhi Lewis, and you mentioned Bound Brook, you know, really good junior class. A very good program. They had state champions 21 and 22 in their history. So you come back next year, you know, with a title already under your belt, and you know, everyone's going to be looking at you to do some big things once again.
Wrestling can be a very unforgiving sport. We know that in New York. We know that in New Jersey. Stefan Glasgow, the junior out of Bound Brook, learned that as a sophomore. He goes to the finals, the state final, loses 1-0. That's a tough off season. Okay, well, he had a good offseason because Glasgow came back in his junior year for Bound Brook. He wins the state title at 152 pounds, and now he is first team All-Metro. Stefan Glasgow.
And he did it with authority, too. As you mentioned, lost 1-0 as a sophomore. And some of his coaches ribbing a little bit during the year how he couldn't score a point in the state final. So he made up for that big time. When he got to the state championship match, he dropped 16 points on Toms River East, A.J. Myers. Really a takedown machine on his feet. So athletic, so explosive, can wrestle, you know, in and out of a lot of different positions. And he opened up in the finals. He definitely wasn't nervous. He definitely wasn't gonna let that one get away with him. And Stefan Glasgow, a wrestler that as a freshman won a national championship, big success as a sophomore, and as a junior, he finishes it off, gets all the way to the top, and wins a New Jersey state title right behind his teammate Mekhi Lewis.
Listen, whether it's the Beatles, whether it's Bruce Springsteen, whether it's Lady Gaga, there have been many great performances in Boardwalk Hall. okay? Glasgow fits right into that category because he had an entertaining final and he just let it all hang out and rip.
He did. A lot of wrestlers get hesitant on that final mat there at Boardwalk Hall. They wrestle not to lose. He didn't do that at all. He went out and he attacked from the opening whistle, and he got 7, 8 takedowns against an excellent wrestler in AJ Myers. So, the talent is there for Glasgow. Now he has the hardware to back it up. So you really want to see what he can do next year, trying to come back and make it 2 in a row.
All right, we move on to 160 pounds. And in life, in sports, in the playoffs, in state finals, you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you think there is a position locked up, and then opportunity knocks, and somebody jumps in.
Beardumple desperately trying to hold on. 5 seconds left. Beardumple looking for the back-to-back. The crowd looking for it. Look at this! Spectacular! A 2-pointer by Cochran, who steals it at the finish line.
Kyle Cochran of Paramus, New Jersey. His rise to supremacy, he loses in the regions, then he still makes it to Boardwalk Hall, and he dominates the competition, and then this moment here where he takes victory out of the jaws of defeat.
Yeah, as a fan, how can you not love that? Coming back after losing to Beardumple, in the region tournament, and what does he do? Gets him when it matters most, at the buzzer too, in such dramatic fashion, to win a state championship, and the first for Paramus in a long time. So Kyle Cochran wasn't on anyone's radar to win a state title. He went through the gauntlet though, beat region champion after region champion, got to the final, avenged his biggest loss in the biggest of ways, and here he is now, first team All-Metro. You can't say anyone earned it more than Kyle Cochran.
Yeah, I mean, he has to beat Kyle Beardumple, who's one of the most decorated wrestlers wrestling in New Jersey right now. A 4-time state finalist. Beardumple was seconds away from winning his second state title, and it just goes to show you, Bob, I'm not a wrestling expert, but there's 6 minutes to a wrestling match, and sometimes at the 5-minute and 55-second mark, you can make your move.
Absolutely, and wrestlers say it all the time. You know what? Get to that state final or get to that tournament final, wherever you are, and you never know what's going to happen because, as you said, Jimmy, 6 minutes, and whoever's the better wrestler in those 6 minutes can win it. If Beardumple and Cochran wrestled 10 times, who knows what happens there. But in that one match, in the moment that mattered, Kyle Cochran, he had it, the biggest moment he's had in his career. So a special night for him, and he's rewarded with a spot on the All-Metro first team.
Wow, congratulations. Our 160-pound first team All-Metro is Kyle Cochran of Paramus, New Jersey. That is an amazing story. Here we go to 170 pounds. The Crusaders of Bergen Catholic, Dave Bell. I mean, is anybody turning out champions more than Dave Bell and Bergen Catholic? And Joe Grello fits right into that mold. Grello, who, congratulations, will stay home and wrestle for Rutgers, but he just had his eye on the prize for the 2nd year in a row.
A fantastic career for Joe Grello. He really developed as a big-time bonus point machine, a big-time pinner for the Crusaders, running that power half ended up being his specialty. He was a top seed at 170 pounds, and he delivered. Got back to a state final against an old nemesis, an old rival, I should say, in Shane Sosinski of Northern Highlands, and he got the job done. He only needed 2 scoring points. Got a takedown early on to go up 2-0. Second period, really good on the mat is Grello, and you see it here, getting the reversal to go up 4-0. Grello did what was expected of him, got to the state final again, got state title number 2, so he'll go off to Rutgers, wrestle for Scotty Goodale as a 2-time New Jersey state champion.
Yeah, he won 3 region championships, and then, of course, the back-to-back New Jersey state titles on that Sunday at Boardwalk Hall. He does it 2 years in a row. His record this year, stellar at 41-2. Joe Grello is our 170-pound first-team All-Metro recipient. And now we move on to 182 pounds. And what a tradition Newtown, Connecticut has in wrestling in the Nutmeg State. Our 182-pounder, congratulations to Anthony Falbo. Falbo is our first-team All-Metro wrestler. Look at the record, Bob. I mean, hey, you're a Jersey guy, but 50-0 is 50-0.
50-0 is an awesome mark to see, and we actually rarely you have a match that helps us decide this. He had a win over Brandon Key to win sophomore nationals, and that definitely mattered. That helped us make this decision, but 50-0, a New England champion. Just an awesome season for Falbo.
Yeah, 3-time Connecticut State Open champion. He's an All-American and just a junior. Anthony Falbo, at 182 pounds, is first team All-Metro for 2016. We press on to 195 pounds and we head back to the corner of Forest and Oradell Ave in Bergen County, New Jersey. Here come the Crusaders of Bergen Catholic once again. It's Kevin Mulligan. He's from Blauvelt, New York, but he goes to high school in New Jersey, Bob. He's part of the Bergen boys, the Crusaders of Bergen Catholic. He also went back-to-back.
Another upper weight hammer for Bergen Catholic and a huge part of this program's ascension to a top 5 team in the country. You know, against another nationally ranked wrestler in the finals, Morris Knowles, Dean Drugak gets the job done again. Very good on his feet. Again, these Bergen Catholic wrestlers are good in all positions, and Mulligan's a good example of that, using his height to his advantage. And you know, he gets the job done against a very good wrestler, an undefeated wrestler, to win state championship #2 and add some more hardware to that Bergen Catholic trophy case, which is growing by the year.
He won it a year ago at 182 pounds. He comes back for his senior year at 195. Kevin Mulligan is first team All-Metro for 2016 at 195 pounds. So here we go to 220. We bring back in Andy Slauson. And Andy, if you were doing a Walt Whitman wrestling trivia show, you would say, what about the year 1978?
That was the last time Walt Whitman had a state champ. Mike Justiza was a state champ. And Jimmy, that was so long ago. I was a freshman in high school the last time Whitman had a state champ before Teron Robinson did it this year.
And what we love about the Teron Robinson wrestling story is the life story. Life has presented obstacle after obstacle for Robinson. He kept his eye on the prize. He focused in school. He focused in his preparation on the mat. And in the end, he got one of the greatest honors a wrestler could ever have, a state championship.
And Jimmy, he's only 16 years old. He's a junior in high school. He's homeless. He lives with one of his siblings. He lost a brother, lost both of his parents. This kid has had everything thrown at him and more than anybody could deal with, let alone a young teenage kid. And he's done it with a lot of class and dignity. And he did it on the mat. He put on a real show in the state finals.
Yeah, you know, sometimes guys are methodical. There's a, you know, there's a slow pace to a Matt. But you know, when you think of what he represented, here we go. You were a recipient for 220 pounds, All-Metro.
Oh, and he gets with a beautiful throw. Oh, my goodness. And just as I say that, explode. Teron Robinson explodes and gets the pin.
King of the throws. I mean, he had more throws than an Olympic javelin gold medalist. This guy was flat out entertaining.
And Jimmy, in the States, every kid from every team knew this was coming. They all knew, hey, if you can stop Robinson's throw, well, guess what, Jimmy? They couldn't do it. He was just amazing. They should charge him money to be a ride at Great Adventure the way he was throwing kids around the mat in the state tournament. They looked like little kids.
You know, and you couldn't have said this at the start of the year, but everything came to light with him in his junior year. I don't think he was one of these guys you had penciled in for getting to the Times Union Center being a state champ, but he started off with a Suffolk County championship and never looked back.
Jimmy, I definitely thought that he was going to win the Section 11 tournament. I thought that he was going to wind up in the state tournament, but I did not think that he was going to win the state championship. And as the season went along, Teron only had one loss, and then he was seeded #1 in the state tournament, and he had a pin with that throw in the first round. He won 7 to 6 in the quarters, and then he was dominant in the semifinals and in the finals.
Good stuff, good stuff. I like that, Andy. And we'll keep you right here, Andy, because we're pressing on to 285 pounds. We know wrestling so many times is a sport of redemption. You turn disappointment into triumph, such as the story of our 285-pound recipient, Edwin Rubio. As a junior, he was runner-up. As a senior, he was undefeated.
And Jimmy, I saw that kid for the first time in 9th grade. He was a 4-time starter in both football and wrestling for John Glenn High School, and he took 4th in the section as a 9th grader in the 285-pound weight class. I said, wow, this kid is going to be one of the special ones. And then the next year, when he was in 10th grade, he won the Suffolk County tournament but didn't place in the states. And then as a junior, he took 2nd in both the county and the state. And I talked to him at the beginning of this year a couple times, and he said he was not going to lose. 42-0 for the season, a state championship, and he was 153-11 in his career. Outstanding kid, outstanding career.
So Edwin Rubio is the 2016 first team All-Metro heavyweight out of John Glenn High School, the senior, 42-0, state champion. He won 2 Suffolk County championships. He's heading off to Virginia. Edwin Rubio, congratulations on first team All-Metro. So there you have our first team. I mean, listen, it's a tough process. There's so much talent on that first team.
It really is. You look at that group. You could take that group to a dual meet tournament. You put that up against any area in the country and feel good about coming away with the win. And I'm talking about anywhere. Pennsylvania, Ohio. I mean, those are some of the best wrestlers, yeah, in the tri-state, obviously, but in the entire country. You're talking about kids that are ranked top, 5, top 3 in some instances. That's an impressive list. It really is. To sit down and be able to watch all those kids wrestle is just a treat.
Andy, it's just a group of kids. When you look at that first team, the common denominator is focus, it's passion, it's hard work. And what an honor, really, when you, a guy like you and Bob, sit down and pour over this stuff. What an honor to be first team All-Metro.
And Jimmy, the thing that amazes me is a lot of the kids that are on this first Metro team, they're multiple state champions. And I think you see that more now than we ever have, because the kids, it's a 12-month-a-year sport. And the records on these kids and the stuff that they do on the mat, sometimes you can't even describe it.
Well, there you go. We've told you about second team. We've told you about first team. We told you to take a look at the honorable mention. All that's left is the Coach of the Year, the Team of the Year, and the All-Metro MVP. We'll take a quick wrestling timeout. What do we call the timeout in wrestling? Is it called timeout?
You get a little injury time.
Injury time.
No one's hurt, but we'll call it that.
Trust me, I'm hurt. Spend the whole season with Slauson and Batters. You are hurt. Take a quick break here on the All-Metro 2016 Wrestling Show. Straight ahead, Coach of the Year, Team of the Year, and the All-Metro MVP. Come on back. All-Metro on the mat returns after this.
In high school sports, there are one-of-a-kind experiences, once-in-a-lifetime moments, and plays you just had to be there to see. Now, with MSG Varsity, you can see it all only on Optimum.
But hold on 1 second. Oh, goodness!
More full games, more coverage, more of why MSG Varsity is where high school champions live. On air, online, on the go. MSG Varsity, only on Optimum.
Ah, yes, we continue on with the 2016 All-Metro Wrestling Show. Now we get to our Coach and our Team of the Year. And Andy Slauson, I got to think 19 years ago when Ray Adams took over the Long Beach Marines program, there was some pressure. His predecessors were legendary guys. The program was a legendary program. And 19 years later, boy, has Ray Adams held up his end of the bargain.
And Jimmy, I don't know how he's done it, because he was under an unbelievable amount of pressure from teams that were constantly undefeated, had state champs, county champions, and he's done a terrific job, but no better than this year. They set all kinds of records in the Nassau tournament, 322 points scored, 14 place winners. They had 4 champions, and you know what? They only have 2 seniors on the team. They were the #1 ranked dual meet team in the large schools in New York State. They won the unofficial state championship in the Union Endicott duels this year. There was nothing that they didn't do, and next year they might be even better, and that's because Ray Adams is at the top running the show over there in Long Beach.
And then we get to our Team of the Year. And Bob, just because you're a Bergen Catholic and you get a lot of talent, okay, it doesn't mean you're going to have an unbelievable amount of success, especially when you think about Dave Bell, the schedule that he takes on, the kind of caliber of wrestler he wants his guys to go up against. And boy, they lived up to the competition, and Bergen Catholic is our team of the year.
100%, Jimmy. They were Bergen Catholic, the unquestioned #1 team in New Jersey from start to finish for the second straight season. But it's what they did away from the Garden State that opened up some eyes. They took second at the Beast in the East. You know, their only losses were to Bethlehem Catholic by 1 match, to Wyoming Seminary, which at the time was the #1 team in the country, by 1 match. They did that all without Shane Griffith, who was injured, who of course went on to become a state champion. You know, they're the only team from the East Coast to ever win the Doc Buchanan Classic out in California, which they did this season. Their schedule, you know, it's among the best in the nation. They finished as a top 5 team in the country. You know, 4 state champions, everything that goes along with it. You know, it was a pretty easy choice. Bergen Catholic, our team of the year.
And this is a process too. Picking the team of the year is not easy. You know, there was a lot of discussion in the room. There was a discussion for the legendary skipper for the Cavals of Emerson, Stan Woods. Emerson, unbelievable story this year.
What a year for Emerson. They win the NJSA Group 2 championship. Their first ever for Stan Woods, who was the winningest coach in New Jersey history, and the first ever team state championship for a public school from Bergen County. So, you know, for Stan Woods and that group at Emerson, just an unbelievable finish to the 2016 year.
And Andy, I mean, even in the discussion about Team of the Year, you know, we mentioned a moment ago Ray Adams. Long Beach was in the discussion. I mean, you know, when you don't lose a dual meet, when you set all these records, when you're doing this kind of stuff, you're going to get consideration, and boy, did they.
Jimmy, they won the 3 biggest team titles that a Long Island team can win. They won their sectional title, they won their dual meet title, and they won the unofficial New York State Championship for teams at the Union Endicott Duels. So they couldn't have done anything more than what they did this season.
All right, so there you go. Our team of the year is Bergen Catholic. Our coach of the year, Ray Adams. Congratulations to both of those fine institutions, and to the victors go the spoils. And then we get to our Tri-State All-Metro MVP. And this is something we take very serious. I mean, I've been with Mike Quick for 20 years. You know, he told me from day one, when it comes time to pick an MVP, there's a lot that goes into it. They have been in all sports, on MSG Network, on MSG Varsity. They have been some of the legendary names in the sports. You got to be of high character on and off the field. You have to have everything that an elite athlete has to have. And boy, 4 years of wrestling, we are pleased to announce our 2016 All-Metro MVP, the one, the only, Nick Soriano.
He is high school wrestling's version of a rock star.
Soriano takes the shot low and now gets the 2-point takedown.
He's got that right arm locked up, trying to turn him over.
He has that confidence and knowing that he was 1 move away.
Nick Soriano has done it! A 4-time state champion, undefeated as a high school wrestler, and this one will last a lifetime.
Well, here he is, whether you want to call him our All-Metro MVP or our All-Metro Wrestler of the Year, Bergen Catholic's own Nick Soriano. Nick, Boardwalk Hall has filed out. Not only has Elvis left the building, but so will you as a 4-time New Jersey champ. Is it a relief?
It is, absolutely. I've worked my whole life for this. I've sacrificed so much to get to the point I'm at, and I'm in a historic arena. Floyd Mayweather, Arturo Gatti, Mike Tyson, some of the best fighters in the world have been right here on these grounds. And Mike Gray, Andrew Campitano, Anthony Ashnall, tons of legendary wrestlers out of New Jersey, and it feels awesome to be a part of that.
You know, it's amazing. You mentioned the other guys who did it, and they were pulling for you. Ashnault, you joined in that exclusive company as undefeated for your high school wrestling career, and he wanted you to do it. Did that make you feel good?
It did. You know what? I looked up to Anthony. I used to work out with Anthony all the time. Anthony he's the one who opened this up and was the first one to ever be an undefeated state champ, and he proved it was possible. And when I saw him do it, you know what? Before he did it, I knew that this was my ultimate goal, to be an undefeated 4-time state champ. And you know what? It's an honor to be put with his name and the other greats. And I have my legacy. I had some big wins. And it's awesome to finish and cap it off in Boardwalk Hall, no doubt.
Where does pressure factor in with you? I mean, I would think when you're getting to the finish line here, the only big story is if you lose.
Yeah.
Did you feel any pressure in the last week?
You know what? Yeah, I guess you could say pressure. Pressure does exist. I mean, it's only what you make of it. You know what? I know there's critics out there. I know there's people that want to see me lose. But at the end of the day, I know there's triple the amount that want to see me win. I got an awesome family. Got my dad in my corner, my biggest coach, my biggest fan, my biggest critic. And you know what? We did it. We told people we'd be right here today, and we're doing it. And we just got it done. And it's been a long ride, and we put in a lot of hard work, true, real hard work and sacrifice. We did it our way, and it's an honor.
It's an individual sport, but it's a team sport. Grillo, Griffith, Mulligan, Soriano, 4 Crusaders in the final.
Yeah.
You guys do it again. You win 4 state championships. This is what BC Wrestling is all about, and this is what your legacy is about, lifting up this team.
Correct. You know what? It's been an awesome ride with Bergen Catholic, my coach Dave Bell. I've had a ton of coaches in that room that helped me get to where I'm at today. And it's an honor, man. We had guys prepared. Our guys are always prepared. And, you know, we won our 5th team state title this year. And we're on a roll, man. We had 4 state champs once again. And, you know, the sky's the limit. And I wish the best for my team, my coaches next year, and my school. It's been an honor to represent this BC right here.
What are the next chapters for you? Obviously, you go on to Penn State. You know, you're officially now a Nittany Lion in my book. I mean, but I always think that someday Nick Soriano could represent the United States of American wrestling. I mean, what's the next goal for you?
You know what? My next goal is to be a world champion, and after that, it's to be an NCAA champ as a true freshman. Those are my goals. You know, they're lofty, but you know what? I'm right there with the best. I believe I am the best. And I'm going to go out and put my skills together. And, you know, I took tonight as a learning lesson to just get better and keep improving. And it's a humbling sport, man. You know what? Because I beat that guy by a wide margin last time we faced, and it got closer. You know, I was always in control in my mind, but, you know, the score was tight. And I wish I went out and performed a little more like myself. But, you know what? The job was complete. It's been a long journey. And, you know, we capped it off with dominance. And I can't wait to go with guys that are better than me at Penn State. You know, go with them. Coach Kel Sanderson, a legend. You know, I'm gonna be going in there, and everyone's gonna be better than me. Everyone's gonna have a bigger name than I do, and it's gonna be humbling. And that's what life's about: becoming a better man and taking these lessons that are learned right now and thriving and just getting better and better and shooting to the stars, because that's what I've done my whole life.
What amazing perspective from a high school student, Nick Soriano. And Bob, if you're a numbers guy, the numbers are mesmerizing. 4-time New Jersey State champ, 4-time Beast of the East champ, 2-time Doc Buchanan winner, the only 2 times he entered the fray there, and he's going off to Penn State.
You've never seen Nick Soriano wrestler. That interview right there will tell you almost all you need to know about him and why he's so successful. And again, 38-0 this season, 159-0 for his career. He's won every single tournament he's ever entered. He's only the 2nd ever 4-time Beast of the East champion. They went out to the Doc Buchanan Classic twice. He won it both times. You know, at every turn, he has won and been dominant. He got taken down once in his entire career.
What?
That was when he
Say that again.
Only taken down once in his entire career, Nick Soriano. That was when he was a freshman at the Beast of the East tournament. Of course, he rebounded and won against that wrestler, then went on to win that tournament, of course. And from there, he's been absolutely untouchable. Talk about dominance in just winning matches. How about not even being scored upon?
He is a master of the fundamentals of the sport. He has unparalleled strength. You know, I had this great little moment in Boardwalk Hall about 1:30. The event starts at 3:30. Well, I ran into him and his dad, his dad, Bob Soriano, who's a Paramus lifer. He wrestled at Paramus, and I just said, "Where did it start?" And he says, "You know, just me and a couple guys. We get the Paramus wrestling recreation going. Mm-hmm. Nicky's an 8-year-old kid. We get him in there." I said, 8 right away. You knew? He goes, "Not really." He goes 8, 9. He goes, when he got to about 10 years old, at that time he was playing football and soccer and wrestling, but you could see about 10 years old where he just separated himself. And then, you know, he still played the other sports for a short time, and then he just, you know, kind of turned his life over to the sport of wrestling. But Andy, you know, listen, you've been around this. You know, you saw the great Jesse Jansen, you know, Nick Piccinini. I mean, you know, we could, You know, you've seen guys, you know, undefeated. You've seen guys who, with this air of invincibility. You've seen Yanni Diakomahalis of Hilton, who, if Hilton was in our area, he'd be in this discussion too. But what impresses you from just a short distance as a New York guy about Nick Soriano?
Well, Jimmy, let me say this about Jesse Jansen. You know, I always got to throw it back to Jesse. And I don't think that, well, at least since the state championship started in 1963, there has never, ever been a Long Island wrestler who's gone through his entire high school career undefeated. But there's a little footnote to that. Jesse Jansen lost in 7th grade and 8th grade, never lost after the 8th grade, so he won 163-0. But what you're telling me about Nick Soriano, think about this. He never got taken down in a state tournament. I have never heard of another kid that's gone to the States 4 times that could say that. That is absolutely incredible. And also, if you really watch that interview, Jimmy, what impressed me, that kid never once said, I. It was always, we did this, we worked hard, we did this. Talk about character. I can see why that kid was a 4-time undefeated state Jersey champion. What a classy kid.
Good stuff, good stuff. And it's, listen, I mean, when you're talking about the Jansons and the Sorianos of the world, they're all just legendary guys. And gentlemen, that's it. I mean, and so it goes. The famous final scene, the last hurrah. That concludes. Andy, when you think about this wrestling season right here on the mat, just, great stories from start to finish with the Long Island wrestling scene, and I'm sure you're looking forward to next year.
Can't wait, Jimmy. Just counted, Section 11 has 38 returning place winners out of 90. There's several state champs coming back from both Nassau and Suffolk. Wantagh and Long Beach right now, to me, would be the number 1 and 2 ranked teams on Long Island. Long Beach 1, Wantagh 2 coming into next year because they have so much returning firepower. Should be a lot of fun. Can't wait. Only 9 months till the first duel meets.
And Bobby, again, we're in the business of creating memories, chronicling memories. I mean, sure, Soriano, we've gone through this, but when you look at a story like Kyle Cochran, coming out of nowhere, Key winning, he'll be back next year. There's so much to look forward to.
It really is, and it's a fun season from start to finish. The dual meet tournament for states always has a ton of drama, but then you get to the individual portion and you see these great storylines being written. It happens every year. It was great this year. It'll happen again next year, and that's the fun part for me, looking forward. You don't know what's going to be next and what's going to happen. You just know it's going to be special.
We took an informal poll in the office. Batters and Slauson, first team, Cavallo, honorable mention from me. So you guys have done it again. First team for both you guys again. Have a great offseason, Andy. Bob Batters, that concludes it for the 2016 All-Metro Wrestling. Congratulations to one and all. If you thought you should be on that list and you got a year or 2 left, there is time. We will see you next time on the mat. For Bob and Andy, I'm Jimmy. Wrestling season is in the books.